Thank you all so much for coming and giving up a morning of your summer. I know this is very valuable time, and the great compensation we give you is some St. Louis bread this morning. So I apologize, there is no check associated with this morning, but we really do appreciate you giving up your time. Hopefully, you may be finished with this assignment before you leave today. If you are the lead teacher for a number of classes, you probably will have some homework. But before we get started, I just wanted to share with you, my full-timers know that I like this devotional book called Jesus Calling. Sarah Young is an amazing author, and she writes as if she's speaking as if she's Jesus. And so today's was so good. Let me help you get through this day. There are many possible paths to travel between your getting up in the morning and your lying down at night. Stay alert to the many choice points along the way, being continually aware of my presence. You will get through this day one way or the other. One way is to moan and groan, stumbling along with shuffling feet. This will get you to the end of the day eventually, but there is a better way. You can choose to walk with me along the path of peace, leaning on me as much as you need. There will still be difficulties along the way, but you can face them confidently in my strength. Thank me for each problem you encounter, and watch to see how I transform trials into blessings. There may be some times in the next 2 hours that you feel a little discomfort, frustration. I think it's kind of good for teachers to feel that from time to time. It reminds us of how our students feel sometimes. But I just thought those were nice words of wisdom from our Christ. So let's take a moment and pray, and then we'll get started. Dear God, thank you so much for this morning and this group of people who are committed, very committed to the work that we do here at Missouri Baptist in preparing educators, leaders, counselors, psych examiners, anything education we do here at Missouri Baptist. And I know everyone in this room is proud of the work that we do and the candidates that we produce. God, this work that we're doing today, we want to glorify you in all that we do as we make our programs better and really just determine ways in which to articulate what it is that we're doing and aligning assessments and to certain standards. And I just pray that you would help us have clarity of thought, that those of us who are presenting can clearly communicate, and that this be a time that's glorifying to you in all that we do. I ask all of these things in Jesus' name, amen. Okay, just to get us thinking back to the good old days, we're going to spend 1 minute and 35 seconds watching this. I don't even know if there's on the other side. There is sound, but I don't know where it is. Where is sound? And I wasn't a student in the 90s, but I was. Since in college in the 90s.
I have no idea.
It's okay. We don't need music.
I remember that.
First world problems, getting a straw through the Capri Sun. Gym class. Who remembers those?
I like those.
I do too. I like Who did those?
All the girls.
Best day ever. So I just want to show you those that, things have changed. They've changed in a lot of ways, and we just, yikes, get rid of that one. But we're still in the business of educating kids, right? But for the purposes of what we're doing now, accountability is the name of the game. And so what I want to do first, before I hand it over to Sherry, my portion of today's meeting is really just a general overview. What are we doing here? Yes, absolutely. Is that good? There's enough natural light that's coming in. and just for 1 minute, those of you who couldn't be here today, thanks for joining us. And I apologize in advance when I leave the screen. So my purpose, I wanted to talk to you about what are we doing here? Why did we ask you to come up today? This is a university-wide effort. So all divisions are getting together this summer for a meeting to determine how every single master syllabus needs to be updated, okay? Our learning target is to update all master syllabi with alignment to course, program, division, and institution. I didn't put it on the board, and I'll tell you why I didn't in a minute. Objectives, okay? Now, education, we're sitting pretty good in some ways in comparison to other divisions because we're used to doing this. For NCATE, we had to take all of our syllabi and align them to standards and put our table in there and show the assessments. And so many divisions haven't even done that. So for some, this is a real struggle. But this is what we have to do. Not only align our course objectives to course assignments, we've got to go a step further. I was thinking about a real life application, and this is kind of lame, but this is all I could come up with. It would be like if you are the manager of Deerbergs, okay? And you were trying to figure out how are things going in your corporation, right? So you have your whole supermarket, right? Your whole institution. So these are the institutional goals. And then inside of that, we have our division goals. That's our ed division goals. You probably didn't even know we had division goals. We do have division goals. No syllabus mentions our education division goals, and they need to. So you're going to hear more about that. So if you think about Deerbergs is the store. The division might be the produce department. And then inside of that would be your program. So our programs have particular goals and standards and objectives. So if you are initial cert, you teach a course, your syllabus is in an initial cert program, use the Mosby for teacher standards. If you are the lead instructor for a counseling class, you would use the Mosby counselor standards. So those are the program goals. That might be your vegetable program, if you're thinking in the whole Deerbergs supermarket. And then the last one would be course. So you would be looking at the broccoli. How much broccoli are we selling, okay? So that's, in a nutshell, what we need to do better at. HLC, the Higher Learning Commission, is going to be coming onto our campus in
I hear from September.
Spring of September, 2016.
2016.
September.
Earlier than we thought. But this is a good exercise for us to do. And instead of me explaining it, because I don't know much about HLC other than what I've heard over the last few years, I pulled up a YouTube, so I'm going to have them explain to you briefly the why behind this, and I'm going to move around from place to places to not waste our time. Oh, I'm going to need sound. If that is a problem, we can just skip it and move on. So really the whole point is so that we can evaluate our programs, our division, and our institution in a more methodical, purposeful, intentional way with data to back up those decisions that we make. Just like as a teacher, right? You as a teacher, you collect your own data, the students' scores, and you determine, okay, yeah, they're meeting this objective or they're not. And then you make changes to your course. Well, we as a program, and you have a director of your programs, we have program directors, many of you are in this room. Those program directors, we need to start collecting similar data. We need to glean those assessment scores from all the courses in that program and make decisions based on what that data is telling us. And then me as the division leader, I need to be collecting all of the different programs and saying, you know what, our initial cert, we're doing good, but we've got some real gaps in the ed specialist curriculum, or I just randomly the counseling, and we've got these gaps, and this is what the assessments are telling us. Our accrediting bodies, they don't just want this, They expect this. And so we have found that we really need to be doing a better job. So as an institution, we're making a concerted effort to do that. Don't worry about it.
Let's
Don't
try
worry
it.
about
Let's try it, if you want to. I'll know real quick here if it's
You
gonna
know what,
work.
I think I'm done. I think I'm gonna turn it over to Sherry. The last one, the institutional goals. Let me talk for just a minute about that. You may not realize, but MBU has institutional goals. They're great goals that make MBU who we are, and we are doing a lot of those things. But for the purposes of today, and actually I've kind of got the education division off the hook for those. I sort of told these guys, should institutional goals be covered in gen ed classes? At least for this alignment project. So you will not be aligning any of your assignments on institutional goals. You will just be aligning your course. They already should be aligned to course, but we will be adding alignment to program objectives and division objectives, okay? Here's another thing that's going to be a change. HLC doesn't want you to have a lot of objectives. They want you to have a few objectives. The fewer the better, and you gotta show that you're assessing those objectives. So our goal for you is no more than 12 total. So here's our recommendation, is that you have no more than 5 course goals, no more than 5 program goals, and no more than 2 division goals. Now, does that mean you're going to read the division goals and you're going to be like, oh yeah, we do that in my class, and we do that in my class, and we do that in my class, and we do that. That's great, but we want you to be very narrow in your thinking. Laser focus. What at the end of the day is really, what are those really, really important objectives that are met in your class? That you have an assessment that aligns to that, okay? Big picture, does anybody have any questions? Did I articulate the reason for this? Okay. All right. Well, without further ado, I'm going to introduce Sherry Brandt to you, Dr. Sherry Brandt.
I have a new name.
Yeah, so
Every week I change the name.
So Sherry has the large task of taking over this portion of Carl Holshin's job. Now Carl's here and he's so relaxed today. It's such a good place.
And I'm not.
Yeah, Sherry's not. So when these guys came to us and told us about this project, this was during a dean's council, and to each division chair they passed out a sheet of all of our syllabi. Hold on, I'm having classroom management issues.
There you go.
You guys okay up there? Okay. So they handed each division chair a sheet of all of their syllabi, and this is the education division. This is
one of the bigger ones.
This is what Sherry Brandt is responsible to make sure, one, they're all updated and they're all turned in every semester. And that's why Carl is feeling so good right now, right? The list got a little bit longer recently due to HLC telling us you no longer should have a syllabus that is dual, that says EDSP 453553. You need to have 2 separate syllabi. So that's a new change as well that you're going to notice. Do those syllabi have to be different? They do need to be different in that the graduate needs to have more rigor, more than just a research paper at the end, okay? And we'll leave that up to you. One thing though, and before I turn it over, this is the last thing I want to leave you with today. Today is not about content of your syllabus or your class, okay? If you want to work on that, you can work on that later. But for the purposes of today, please just stick with the content you already have in the syllabus we're going to pass out to you. If you're sitting there working on this thinking, oh gosh, this would be a great time to change that assignment. I think I could make it better. No, don't let yourself go down that rabbit trail today, okay? For the purposes of today, we are taking content that is already in your master's syllabus and we're aligning it to these new program and division goals that will simplify things and will allow you to get this project done faster, okay?